plotly.js.com. And if you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, kindly do it so that you don't miss any of my videos. So without any delay, let's get started. And today we are gonna learn about Plotly.js. Right? So today in this video we are gonna learn about Plotly.js. Plotly.js is a charting library that comes with over 40 chart types. So it has over 40 chart types, 3D charts, statistical graphs, and SVG maps. Right? And today we are just gonna scratch the surface of Plotly.js because it is very wide and we are gonna learn about some of its charts, right? All different types of charts, graphs, etc. etc. So, without any delay, let's get started. Damn! So, first of all, we'll do scatter plots. So, over here we have a variable x array where we have some data 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 90, 100. 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. Then we have a y array. So these values. So these values that are like 50, 60 and all 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. This is where our basically dot will be placed, right? So this is where our dot representing, okay, we'll come to that later. Then we have a y array, right? So we have a y array with some data 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 9, 9, okay, something like this. Now what we are doing, we have a data array, right? So we have a data array of object. In that there's an object. We can give multiple objects to create to compare multiple data at the same time. Over here we have an object in which we are giving x equals x array, y equals y array, mode markers. So the mode is markers, so it is saying that the mode is markers. So these are the markers, right? These are the markers, that dots are the markers. So we are saying the mode should be markers, and the type is scatter. So it is saying that these dots will be scattered on our map. And then Plotly.js gives these tools automatically by default, and we are giving x equals x array and y equals y array, right? So over here what this is saying, all the dots on the x-axis, the first dot will be placed on 50, then the second will be placed on 60, the third will be placed on 70, fourth will be placed on 80, fifth will be 90, and so on. So the first dot is placed on 50, the second dot is placed on 60, as we said, right? 50, 60, right? So what we are saying is happening. And then you see this 7. So the y array is saying that we on the y-axis where should that dot be placed. So over here we have given 7. So on 7 and 50 this dot will be placed. So we have given an x, and the length of these both should be same. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So over here also we must be having 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? So the length of these are the same, right? Because for every dot we are giving a position x and a position y. So over here the position x is 50, so it will be placed on 50, the first dot, and the y position is 7. So 7 is just in middle of 6 and 8, in between 6 and 8, so 7 is coming over here. Then for the second dot, the x is 60, that is right directly over here, and the y is 80, right? And Plotly.js give us a lot of tools. We can do like this, right? And we can do like take a snapshot, right? And do whatever we want to. right? And now let's see, then we have a layout object. This is an object in which we have an x-axis property. So we are saying what should be displayed over here on the x-axis. So on the x-axis we are saying range should be between 40 and 160. So the range is between 40 and 160. We are saying the range should be between 40 and 160, and the title is square meters. So title is written over here, right? And then on the y-axis we are giving the range from 5 till 16. So from 5 till 16, right? And it didn't show us 5 because we directly started from 7, so we didn't need to show 5. That's why it didn't show 5, right? And the range is from 5 till 16, and the title that is shown over here like this is price in millions. So it is shown like this, right? And then what we have given, we have given an independent title, house prices versus size. So over here it is showing us house prices versus size. And then what we're doing, the main thing it is over here is plotly.newplot. So we are using plotly. Okay, so this is a default, basically this must be a class, and then new plot must be a static method in the class, right? And it is accepting three arguments. The first argument is the id. It is the id of our element where we want to show the graph. So we have already in index.html created an element with the id myplot where we are gonna show our graph, right? And over here to new plot we need to pass which element with the id that we have passed, in which element will our basically graph be displayed. So we are saying the element with the my plot id, in there the graph will be displayed. And then we are passing it the data, so where the dot should be placed. And then sorry, and then we are passing in the layout, what should be written in the x-axis, y-axis, and what should be the title, right? And this was very simple, and we just created a beautiful chart with a lot of options. Download plot as png, we can pan, right? We can pan, we can zoom, we can, there's something box select, we have something lasso select, zoom in, zoom out, zoom out, zoom in, right? Quite cool. Then we have auto scale, so we can auto scale. Then we have reset axis, so that resets it to its original position. Then we have toggle spike lines, that is also something. Then we have show closest data on hour, so this is the closest data on hour. And then we have compare data on hour, so we have comparison. And then it is just showing produced with plotly. And then when we click it, it takes us to the plotly.com, right? To the service website, right? So this was a simple scatter plot. Now we'll see how to create a line graph. So this is also gonna be very cool. Over here we have the same data as before. We have our data array, and in that we have an object x equals x array, y equals y array as usual. And then we have given mode instead of markers. We are saying mode, instead of being those little markers dots, we will give lines. So it is saying mode should be lines. And if you just must be wondering, just always raising the question, why do we have line graphs? Then the answer I think is because when those markers are displayed and there's like very little difference, then we won't be able to see the difference, but we will be able to see the slope in the lines, and that's how we can tell the difference. Whereas in markers, if there's a very little difference, then we won't be able to see that difference, right? So that's why it will be basically line graphs are much more clear. So we are giving more lines, so instead of those markers, for every thing we'll have a line, and its type is scattered, so it should be scattered on our basically graph, right? And the layout is it has the range same, title same on the x-axis, and then on the y-axis the range is same and title is also same. And the title that was before is now the same title, and we are just giving it the same element where it should execute our basically um a graph, and then we are given the data and the layout as usual. So instead of markers, it is showing us now lines. Now that is cool. We just changed one word of our code and the markers turned into lines. And that's so cool, guys, right? This is so cool functionality over here. Plotly is very easy to use, and yeah, it's so interesting. Very easy graphs you can produce, right? Then we have linear graphs. So linear graphs have a straight line, right? So they have a straight line. So let's see how we have created the linear graph. Over here we have given a variable x, right? And in that we have an equation, right? In which we have done x plus 17, and then we have a variable x values, and that's an array. Then we have a y values, that's also an array. And then we are looping on, we are doing variable x equals 0, x less than equals to 10, x plus equals to 1. We can have also done x plus plus, right? And then what we are doing y values dot push eval x. So basically it is in always the x value will remain the basically x value is basically changing, right? So x value is changing by 1, right? And the y value will always be increased in the same proportion, right? So that it will always be increased, right? And in the same proportion. So over here y values dot push, I just in the same proportion that basically the y value will be increased by the same values. So basically y value dot push evaluate expression. So this, it is just evaluating expression. So whatever x is, we are adding the value 17 in it. So if x is 0, then basically the slope will increase a little bit, right? So whatever x is in that, we'll add 17 to, so the slope will increase a little bit. So it will go up, like it will like be going like this, going little up, going like this, going little up, going like this, going little up, going like this. And that's such a minor difference of going little up that it will look like a straight line. So it is really looking like a straight line. Oh man. So if we do 17, then we'll see 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And the x is changing by 1, so that it just keeps on going forward, right? So we can see this line, right? Now the straight line. And linear graphs are used basically because it's easier to compare data with linear graphs, because like you have data, right? And you can just compare the slope, right? So through the slope, the how steep the slope will be, that will represent how much it is increasing, right? How fast it is increasing, how fast the data is increasing, right? So when we basically we use linear graphs to basically compare data more. Now what we have multiple lines, right? So over here we are using the linear graph to basically um compare more data. So let's see like how it will be shown. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's see. Over here we can directly compare like this, that this blue line and the orange line. So the blue line has less slope, the orange line has more slope, right? So this slope is, we can clearly see that it is steeper than this blue slope, right? So that's why we can say that this orange data is increasing much more faster. And then this green data has, I think, almost the same slope as the orange slope, but it is getting started from 7, right? So it is getting started from 7. I think it has the same slope, but it is getting started from 7. Let's see. Over here, x1 is x. So whatever value of x is, that is this blue slope, right? That's how the blue slope will increase. Then x2 will be multiplied by it will have 1.5 into x. So right, so whatever x value was, it half of its value will get increased. So if x value was 2, then it will be increased by 1, right? When we do zero point 0.1 into x, and then we have x3, and it is 0.1 into x plus 7. So that's why x3 was our first uh, our uh, our basically third slope. So that's why it is coming like the same slope, because we are just adding 7 into it. We are but basically multiplying the same thing, but we are just adding 7 to it. So it will just go much more higher, right? It will just go much more higher, but remain the same slope as the second one, like this, right? But this and this slope have a difference. Why the orange and blue slope have a difference? Because this is x and this is 0.5 more than x's value, right? And over here what we have done, x1 values equals to an array, x2 values equals to an array, x3 values equals array, y1 values equals array, y2 values equals array, y3 values equals array. And then we are doing variable x equals 0, x less than 10, x plus plus, or x plus equals to 1. So x will be increased every time, and we are doing x1 x1 value dot push. So in all of these variables we are pushing x, and in y, right? So we are changing the y, right? The x will go on a steady pace, but the y is changing differently. We are doing evaluate expression 1, evaluate expression 2, evaluate expression 3. So over here the y will be changed according to the x's value. Over here the y will be changed 1.5 into x, right? And over here the y will be changed 1.5 into x plus 7. And then we have a data. So in that we have arrays. This is our data array, and in that we have given it is an array of objects, right? So if we give multiple objects, it compares multiple data, right? And you're given x1 values, right? So you're given x equals x1 values, right? And y equals y1 values, and the mode is lines, and the default type is scatter. Always the default type is scatter. We are given x for the second line, x2 values, and y2 values, and the mode is lines, and the type is scatter. And then similarly with the third object. And then what we are doing, we are giving layout. It's we are just giving the title, right? We are not giving anything to show over here, it's giving it a title, right? And we are just saying y equals x plus x1, right? We are in like square brackets, we are doing y equals x plus 1. So we are just doing y equals x, y equals 1.5 into x. So whatever the expressions value was, we are concatenating over here. So this is only the title, right? And then we are just after doing all this, we are just doing plotly.new plot, passing it my plot, where it should execute the graph, giving it the data and layout. This is very cool. Now our next is bar chart. So how can we create a bar chart? So over here we have given our X array: Italy, France, Spain, USA, Argentina. Let's see the result first. So we are given the X array, right? And then we have given the Y array, right? And what we have given data, X equals X array, right? So X equals to X array, right? So X equals X array. So every value that it is setting, right? So every value it is setting. So first it is Italy, then France, then Spain, then USA, then Argentina. So for everybody, first it will be Italy, then France, then Spain, then USA, then Argentina, right? And then we are given y equals to y array. So this will be the value for Italy, this will be the value for France, this will be the value for Spain, this will be the value for USA, and this will be the value for Argentina. So for Italy it's 55, for France it's 49, for Spain it's 44, for USA it's 24, and for Argentina it's 15. And we are given in layout, we are just given title is worldwide wine production, right? And then it is when we don't give any, basically we just don't tell it, we whenever we don't tell it what should it show over here and here, it just kind of takes the data from x arrays and y arrays, and according to itself it basically places them, right? So according to the x and y values it gets, according to them it places them, if we don't give anything in the layout to show over here and here, right? So over here we have given type bar, so this is the thing to note, that's why we are able to see a bar graph, right? So uh, quite cool, quite cool. Then how can we create horizontal bar charts? So we have the same data, right? And in our data array we have x array, y array, type bar, right? Same thing. And we have given orientation h. So h is basically standing for horizontal, right? And the marker is, and we can pass marker an object saying what colors should, giving some styles to our marker. So we are giving this style color, right? And saying it should be a reddish color, right? And the orientation is edge, so it will be the whole chart will be shown horizontally, right? Layout is same, and then we are passing into new plot the same data, right? Same data, same layout, and same div element. Now there's something interesting. Now we'll create pie charts, right? So over here we have an x array that is Italy, France, Spain, USA, Argentina. Then we have y array 55, 49, 44, 24, 15. And then we have layout, right? So that is title. And then in our data we have labels equals x array. So for pie charts we have to give labels as x array, values as y array. So labels as x array, why? Because I'll just show you, these are the labels, right? So we have given x array for these labels, values y array, so the values will be from y array, and then the type is pi, so the type is pi. And what pie chart does itself, it gives us a percentage, right? So what percentage of wine is produced in that specific country. So 29.4 percentage of wine out of all of these countries is produced in Italy, right? So the pie chart automatically adds percentages, and then we are just passing plotly.newplot, our same div element, our data, and then our layout, right? And through pie charts only we can create donut charts. So over here we have given x array, y array, same data, layout is same, and in data what we have given labels as x array, values as y array, and we have given whole point 4. So this basically is whatever value whole has, that is the radius for the circle that will be of the donuts. So point 4 is the radius of this circle, right? Point 4 is the radius of this circle, right? And everything is same, type is also pi, not donut. And if we just give whole point 9, then see, the radius will be 90%, 90% of the pie chart, right? So the radius will be 90% of the pie chart, right? Quite cool, it looks like a hula hoop right now, right? And now we are on plotting equations. So let's see what's in here. So we have variable exp, right, expression maybe, and in that we have math.sin, right? So we are using the sign method and passing it x. So we have an x values and a y values, and we are just looping 10 times, not 10 times. We are increasing x value very minor, right? So we are increasing it by 0.1, so it will loop 100 times over here, right? Over here it will loop 100 times. So uh, uh, after looping 10 times, x value will be 1. So 10 into 10 is 100. So it will loop 100 times, and 100 times it will push in x values, it will push x, and y value will change. So y values will push x eval expression. So we'll just pass over here whatever sign we are passing the sign method x, and whatever sign returns us, that is the value pushed, right? And then we are in data, we are given x equals x values, y equals y values, and mode is line. So we'll show it in a line, basically a line graph, right? And then we have label is title y equals to x expression, right? So it will show over here y equals to math.sin x, and we are just doing plotly.newplot. We are saying it to plot it in this div, and um, we are passing the data and the layout. So over here we can see the sine wave. So this is called the sine wave. So we are able to see the sine wave, and that's very cool, right? This looks so good. And these are so, oh man, so these are so minor differences in every point that it is looking like it is curved, right? uh, let's experiment something. Instead of 0.1, let's give 1. So let's make it loop 10 times, right? So it is now very crooked, right? Because we can obviously because these there are not more values, and we can see the direct differences in between the values. Over there were very minor differences, that's why it was going in a continuous flow. Over here there are very minor differences, that's why it is going in a continuous flow, right? So this is the sine wave, and then we can also show the cosine wave. So instead of passing our x to math.sine, we can pass it to math.cosine, and we have changed the mode to markers. So instead of using lines, we have used markers. So it is showing us dots like this, and this will also loop 100 times, right? And these are the markers, right? We could have also given the lines, but we are passing math.cosine, right? So we are passing math.cosine x, and it is returning us a value, and we are pushing that into our y values, right? So this is all done by y, right? This is all done by y values, and look, it looks so cool. So we have the cosine wave also over here. And guys, we just scratched the surface. There's a lot more to learn in Plotly, and this was just the beginning of your, you can say, your Plotly journey, because it is very, very wide. And that's it for this video, guys. I hope you like the video. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. Thank you guys. Bye. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching my videos. Dap!